Once all the emotional and character elements are feeling good, I step back from the animation and try to hear what the more prominent sound shapes are. By sound shapes, I'm not referring specifically to phonemes or even necessarily to vowel sounds. I'm kind of talking about something a little more primal, like what are the raw, abstract noises and tones? Which ones are more prominent than others, and what kind of shape does that suggest for the mouth? Now here's where the trick is. Since we've already defined how we think the character uses their mouth, that limited set of shapes, we have some parameters to work within, which I tend to think makes your job way easier. Trying to hear the prominent sound shapes in an audio track is kind of like trying to see the dominant hues and forms of a painting, like blurring your eyes to see what colors and shapes stand out. Melodic speech kind of works like the composition of a painting, I think. It guides our brains around to certain points of emphasis, trying to plant a very specific idea in the memory of the listener. As animators, I think we can take full advantage of the melody of speech and work it into the way we sculpt our lip sync. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit back and blur my ears, so to speak. So I want to listen down to this kind of section at a time. So the first sentence, of course, is do you want to see the rats? The prominent sounds, we'll have to find out what that is.
Do you want to see the rats? Do you want to see the rats? Do you want to see the rats?
So really, she starts off in do you. So e, a. Do you want to see the rats? Those are the sounds that stick in my head. I mean, wanna and rats are the two big ones. Do ya and see are sort of what leads to each of those words. Do you wanna see the rats? So I still think all four are important to hit because they're very different in mouth shape, but we're gonna wanna make sure that ultimately that wanna and rats are the ones that totally read. The do is gonna totally work. I can get the D in there and it'll work. And I'll smooth out that transition and by using the D sound. But do you wanna? It's pretty big. It's wah. So I want to get that nice and wide to begin with. What I really want to do is make sure that the jaw is a little bit more open there. Which is, see how it's already closer to that wah? I mean, even when you watch me move it, it looks a little bigger. And I just want to pull this the side of her mouth out just a little bit more. And then as I scrub through, and it looks like it will eventually relax into a lesser shape. And that's what we'll be figuring out in the hold. But as long as I got that first ah, I want E, which requires me to bring the teeth together more and widen out those corners, possibly in a little bit of a smile. Like ah, e, ah, e, ah. And the ah is actually probably going to stay out too. I want to really square it out. So let's hit that E. I just want to get a little more of a symmetrical look on this. Let me pull this up just a little bit. So I'm getting more of a E, E. What's nice is I'm also going to be able to grab that S in that same shape too. I can get to that shape a little early and go and just bite the teeth down and I'll have an S. Get the ah. Pretty much right there, right on that key that I've already got. So right now the mouth is pretty ah. It's very relaxed. I want to get that like ah. Nice and square and ah. It's a nice American short A sound. So let's open that up. I'm going to first give it a little bit of jaw, a little bit of extra jaw. Then I'm going to do some of the same things I was doing with the A. I'm going to see if I can get a little more. I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to move on to the next section of it. Bye, Annie. See what the sounds are we have in there.
You won't be able to buy any.
Basically then, I want the oo for the U, which holds through you won't, And then be able to is kind of one slurred shape. The E and the E are going to both exist in the same shape. So you won't be able to I any. O, E, ah. So let's go grab those. This is fun. Let's get a little more of an E, which this is too puckered, so I want to pull out. I want to close the jaw a little bit. It's close. I don't want to go too far because this isn't an E sound. It's more of an eh. It's relaxed. So I think I should articulate the be able to by. Let's just do that because that's an important separation. Be able to. She kind of relaxes her mouth and relaxes her pronunciation right there. Be able to buy any. Ah, right there. Here's my buy any. Let's open this up. Ah, kind of doing almost the same thing as the last thing. Let's widen that out. Hopefully I don't break that cheek really. I don't want to smile this too much. This is an E. This is an I. This is ah. There's a lot of down. One last sound. I think I should hit the E. Buy any. And make sure I'm closing on an E shape. That's sort of how I finish it off. But what I don't want to lose is this slack mouth that she goes into this like buy any. I'm going to go to 94 and just hit that E. Let me just land that E sound right there. E. E. There. Oh, look at that. Yeah, there we go. I like where that slacks down right there. Let's watch it.
You won't be able to buy any. You won't be able to buy any.
Yeah, I totally got the oh yeah, I. It's such a weird thing to kind of walk through, but that's the essence of what's coming out of her. Those are the tones that she's really wanting to get across. So nobody buys them. So o, ah, It's really the main tones that are coming out there. But I don't want to lose this really sort of smug and effortless, meaning she doesn't want to make it look like she's putting a lot of effort into this. So as she speaks, I want it to stay in this shape and move only as much as possible, or only as much as necessary to her. I want to avoid the sticky lips first. If I can do it without sticky lips, I'm gonna, because that's not how our muscles work. What happens is we pucker in first. So I'm going to take these and just push them in. So to me, that's enough to get no. Nobody buys them. Accidentally, this next key, nobody, that really relaxed E shape, I'm going to leave that. Nobody buy. And then any. Nobody buys them. That's a really dull. And actually, this sort of emotional shape fits that really relaxed them. Going with it. Now all I'm going to end up putting in there is figuring out how long each of those sounds holds, and then get the N, buys them, make sure I get the M's, all that. We'll get there. All right, let's move along. So let's do they only rent them anyway. They only. So aoi. Aoi e. So o e. Yeah, it's the E that's not making it. The E has to be smiling a little bit more. This is feeling better. I like the flat bottom of the lip and then the slightly complex upper lip. If you're doing an E shape and you're smiling it, like if you're E, getting some teeth, and suddenly you go to a more open mouth shape, o, anything that opens the jaw. think of it like a squash and stretch. That the corners of the mouth, where they're out, as soon as the jaw opens, are going to go, are going to come in